This is really random. Well, impromptu is probably a better word. It's not random because I have put some thought into this little brief video I'm making for you. And it's in reference to an email that I got from a dear heart who said, long story short, she's been living with or dealing with a narcissist. And this narcissist was really trying to, or is really trying to control her life. And so she said she would have none of it, and she ended it. And this person is constantly trying to force his way back into her world. And she sent me an email and she said, I'm so confused. I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. And I replied to the email, you're not confused, you're actually very clear, which is refreshing. You're very clear. And you're clear on the fact that you deserve better than this. You're clear on the fact that this is not a sustainable model. You're clear on the fact that this is not something that you're willing to tolerate. Now, it's your empathy that makes you feel sorry for this sad individual, but it is a solid self-esteem that prevents you from succumbing to the temptation to give away your life to somebody who is sick and does not deserve you. And that's the beauty of a strong and solid self-esteem. In Queenology, I talk a lot about the woman's broken queen consciousness, broken consciousness. And that really speaks to the fact that the woman has been conditioned by society not to have a very high self-image. And so she searches for identity and esteem in relationships, which does what? Makes her vulnerable to toxic men and relationships that will not serve her well. But here's the thing, when the self-esteem and the self-identity are deficient, it's, one can introduce to a person whose self-esteem is deficient, whose self-identity is lacking, one can present and introduce tremendous opportunities to that deficient soul. And that deficient soul, that empty self-esteem, that low self-identity will find a way to sabotage the opportunity because the self-identity is not comparable to the present or to the opportunity being presented, if that makes sense. Take a person with a poor self-identity and they will sabotage a great partner, a relationship, because their self-identity does not coincide, does not measure up to the reality that they're being, the possible reality they're being presented with. When you flip that thing, when a person's self-identity is intact and is healthy, and the self-esteem is high, and the self-view is proper, for lack of another term, when something is introduced that does not measure up to that self-esteem or that self-view, the self-identity will kick that thing out, will not receive it. Just like a poor self-esteem cannot receive things that are above it, a high self-esteem cannot accept things that are beneath it. And this is the case with this dear heart. Somebody's done a pretty decent job of establishing or helping her to establish her self-esteem and her self-identity, and now she's not built to accept less than she is. And this is why we do the work, the self-work, of building ourselves, building our individuality. When I use that term individuality, I am not suggesting that we live our lives as islands, separate and apart from people. That's not practical, that's not wise. But I am suggesting that we have to be whole and complete and total individuals, knowing who we are within ourselves before we're really equipped to engage a toxic society. Because if you don't know who you are, somebody else will tell you, and they will usually tell you a lie. And so I thought I would just get on here and I would just share this with you, because I know that there are others of you who are trying to figure out, why is it that you can't accept certain things? It's because your self-esteem is where it's supposed to be. Some of you are trying to figure out, why is it that you accept stuff that is, improper? It's because we have work to do. And that thing called empathy, when your self-esteem is high, that thing called empathy, which always resides in the heart of an individual who is balanced and healthy, that thing called empathy must be regulated. It must be monitored, because empathy will talk you down off of your throne and talk you down into the arms, talk a queen down into the arms of a clown with a crown. So I was just sitting in my garage and thinking, and I thought I'd share that with you tonight. Hope you're having a great day. God bless you. Talk to you soon. That I have not had a father in my developmental process, I can still come to a place of victory in my personal development.
Ultimately, it is really not about who rejected you. It is truly about who accepts you.
I had to provide for myself, which is a father's job, right? Mm-hmm. I had to take care of my younger sibling, which was my father's job, absolutely, right? Yeah.
You will discover that you will find within yourself the power to see yourself in the way that only you and God can see.